The South African Medical Journal says bowel cancer is common in South Africa and is the 6th most lethal. Early detection of its hidden warning signs is key because that's when the disease is most treatable. Now, to discuss this further, I'm joined in studio by Dr. Devan, Moddley, an oncologist at the Wits Donald Gordon Medical Center. Thanks for your time, doctor. We appreciate it. Of course, the South African media fraternity and many South Africans in general are mourning the loss of Xolani Gwala. He died of colon cancer, which is one of the reasons we're looking at this topic. How common is it in South Africa?
It is, as you've mentioned, it's the 6th commonest cancer that we treat in South Africa. The prevalence in the country is men to women, about 5 to 6 per 100,000 people. So it's a pretty common disease.
Yeah, and early detection, I see in the intro as well, saying is key to actually treating this, but it's hidden. So how do you detect it?
Well, because the bowel is an internal organ, however, still outside your body, because the bowel's like part of your pipe that goes from your mouth all the way out. Okay, so the bowel's the intermediate part and the colon's the large part. Detection can be difficult. One of the first ways we do this is by looking for blood in the stool. Okay, not fresh blood, but altered blood, which is a black stool. Then after a certain age, we advise people that they need regular colonoscopies. So after the age of 50, everybody should have a colonoscopy. And depending on what you find, your colonoscopies thereafter will either be at every 2-year interval or every 5-year interval. Of course, if you go before that, the more important thing is to try to prevent getting this disease. You can do nothing about your genetics, but you can do lots about your lifestyle. You can eat healthily. You can avoid having refried foods. You can avoid having things that takeaways. You can eat balanced, healthy meals with lots of fiber and proper nutrition. And that's the key to dropping the incidence of colon cancer.
Yeah. So talk to me about the foods that people should eat, because we look at so many documentaries saying that meat is bad for you and can lead to cancer.
Okay, so meat is not bad for you. Processed meat is not good for you. So green vegetables, always good for you. No one likes green vegetables. I shouldn't have said that, right? Everybody should like green vegetables. That's good for you. Meat is good for you. To get the processed meat, not good for you.
Too much meat?
Too much meat, well, too much of anything is bad for you, right? So everything needs to be in balance. Unfortunately, one of the things that's not good for the gut is meat that's burnt to a crisp. So our traditional braais, they're good as long as you don't turn the meat into charcoal. Charcoal's for making the fire, the meat's for eating on the fire. So it's important to make that distinction.
Yeah.
Okay? Carbohydrates are also one of these things that are not so fashionable at the moment. A little bit of carbs is good for you. Processed carbs, not good for you. Okay? The more raw you have the food, usually the better for you.
Yeah.
And if you have those constituents in balance, you're actually living a healthy lifestyle.
So you say that after the age of 50, you should actually go and check yourself for a colon cancer.
Everybody
right?
should have a colonoscopy.
Yeah. So,
okay?
But you see people actually getting a colon cancer at an earlier age, in their 40s even.
Yeah. Now, if you have a positive family history, then that age of screening gets moved further forward. If at any point you've detected blood in your stools, then you would have a colonoscopy earlier. So there are lots of little things that point towards somebody that needs to be checked earlier.
Yeah.
And if you've got any alteration in your bowel habits, then you need to see a doctor, and they will proceed by investigating you depending on the symptoms you come up with and the signs they find.
Yeah. It sounds like a very uncomfortable thing to have done, which is why many people will not get it done.
You know, again, impossible to say. I've had a colonoscopy. I literally did it on the day I went to work. Yes, the prep is not so nice, so you have to swallow some liquid that makes you pass a lot of stool, and you need to have access to a toilet. And then they will scope you as long as your gut is clean, right? But it's not uncomfortable. You're asleep. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
and then they put a pipe in and they look at the inside of your colon and see if that's clean or not.
Yeah. Doctor, just tell me about, the early warning signs, apart from looking for blood in your stool. Is there anything else you can look out for?
When you get something like weight loss, that's usually quite late. Okay, but the first thing is alteration in bowel habits. So your colons are literally a pipe that goes from the anus all the way to the appendix. There's literally two halves to it, the left and the right. Okay, when the problem happens on the left-hand side, it tends to be a little bit sooner than when on the right-hand side. The right-hand side first has to bleed a lot, and then you present with anemia or tiredness. Okay, so the right-hand sides tend to present a little bit later. So if you've got anemia, that's another reason to check if you're bleeding from your gut.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time and the insight. We do appreciate it. That was Dr. Devan Moddley, an oncologist at the Wits Donald Gordon Medical Center.